So, I don't believe that you're a T-Rex baby, because the jaw and the tailbones, while not seeming to be fully formed, are not the correct structure of the creature. Maybe a Triceratops, perhaps? Maybe a couple months old? Huh. No. You seem to be, from at least what I can tell, a fully formed creature for whatever you are. You seem like most of your bones, other than your tail, have that buildup of callus, and they seem to be mostly formed. So maybe you were basically an adult, just a smaller-ish creature. Well, no matter. It is not my job today to determine what you are, or should I say, what you were. I'm just here to get all your measurements of your skeleton. You are fairly well put together. You might be missing some leg bones here, possibly some spinal bones as well, maybe a couple teeth. So I'm going to measure whatever I have here, record it all, especially in particular to the location that you are in. Your fossil is quite interesting in the way that it is displayed. So I'm going to record you as is, and then hopefully my colleagues, once you are excavated and brought back to our lab, can work to put you back together, let's say, and figure out what exactly you were. I need to get my gloves on here. See, you are in decent shape, but I'm going to take every precaution to make sure that I don't get any of the oil from my hands or dirt on you. I don't want to compromise just your structure as is, or your fossils. So, let me assess what I'm working with here first. Got your head over here, towards your spine, your tail. That seems to be either missing and fractured with some of the bones, or depending on what creature you were or are, that maybe your tail wasn't fully formed with at least bone structure. Maybe it was mostly feathers, or maybe mostly like a cartilage, like what human ears and things are made out of. Very interesting. And as for your feet, you've got less bones in them than a lot of other skeletons I've worked with before. So that is very interesting. But that could be conducive to your smaller, at least relative to the era that we think you're from, time here. Yeah, because what I'm seeing is that, at least with how you are, and from what I can tell at this moment, is that your bones seem to have indications of fully connected tissues, cartilage, markings of that sort that show that you must have been an adult, or very near to adult age. Oh, fascinating. You're so interesting. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the first amount of measurements of you here. So I'm going to start with the larger measurements. That is the length of you, your height, or estimated height of how your skeletal structure is at the moment. As well as I'm going to take some measurements of the depth at which you were discovered in the dirt, which is not very deep, surprisingly, but that bit could have been due to the recent landslide that occurred that exposed a lot of this side of the mountains, so that could be part of it. But I'm gonna get some of these large measurements and then we're gonna go from there. Let's go from your head just to the tip of your tail here. Okay. It's gonna be about 34.5 inches across roughly. You're quite long compared to your stature, which your stature is only about 3 inches. So you're quite a long being relative to your height, which is very fascinating, as that means you might have been very fast and nimble and able to, depending on how wide you were, sneak through some narrow mountain passes, caves, formations, rock and things. Okay. Do the top of your head to the bottom of your front legs here. Okay. Do from kind of the back base of your spine that connects with your tail. Right. Okay. Make it a bit easier on myself here. There we go. So, base of the spine to the lower feet. Okay. Good. That is those. And now, I believe we should take these measurements of the depth. So, you are, let me see here, about 30, almost 38, 37.9 essentially inches below the level at which our team was excavating from. Okay. Take one more measurement here. Double check that. Yeah. So there's different layers of sediment that look quite old here, surrounded around you. But unfortunately, because of the landslide, we were able to find you more easily and excavate you, but unfortunately, that does mess up the layers of sediment that might have been, hundreds, thousands of years old above you. So that might make the reading of your estimated age a little more difficult. Though because you're such a relatively complete skeleton, I think that will help make a really big difference. And then I'm going to do a measurement of not you, but the general distance of the hole that was gently dug around you. Because they got that pretty far at about 53. Right, excellent. Let me, if I can find my tools, get some notes taken on your measurements then. This tent is quite difficult to navigate around. I should have asked for a bigger coverage space, but whatever. So we've got your outer dimensions here. So that was as your measurements from now. Okay, now before I get to your actual kind of structure bone measurements, which is the very exciting part, I have an even more exciting measurement from you to do. This was a piece of a tooth that we are unsure if it belongs to you or not, as it's quite large compared to your other teeth in your mouth. But there's a lot of apparent missing teeth in your jawbone here. So it could have been that you had a couple molars or incisors that were quite large, particularly if you were a carnivore. Now, this tooth could just have been found in the same kind of hole as you. It could have been from a different creature entirely, or a creature, thousands of years later, as this piece was kind of found a little separate from your skeleton, and was quite, what's the word, loose in the sediment. So we are going to record this along with the rest of your skeleton, unless our team were to find, maybe from the landslide in the area, the skeleton of a creature that this matches with. But I'm going to take this and measure this now, just so that we have the recordings of it. Okay. It's a little hard to do. Loose, that's why we tend to measure you in the ground first, but okay. So this is, oh wow, yeah, a 3.8 inches in height there. Width at the base here is about 1.7. Okay. The width at the sharpest, most distal point is very much only about 0.1 of an inch, so about like a tiny centimeter, if that. There are some grooves here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the grooves are all about, let's see here, 1.4 at the largest marking, and about 2 centimeters, about half an inch at the smallest marking. So that is quite fascinating. I'm going to set this aside carefully on my table here. Okay, so I'm continuing with your measuring here. We are going to start from your skull, I think, and kind of near major bones there, and move along to your tail, and probably then end with your feet. So it'll probably be your skull, the core, your spine, your ribs, your tail, and then your legs. The nice thing about you being a smaller creature is that measuring doesn't take me hours and hours as it does with some of the larger fossils that we come across. We don't come across many, as with time, they just don't last. They get washed away, as maybe some of your bones did in that landslide, but nevertheless. Okay, so that's going to be from the top of your skull to the jaw. Good. Let's do the width of your skull. Here. Your skull is quite large relative to the rest of your body. But that's pretty common. Especially from fossils from your potential era. I'm just going to measure a couple of wet remaining teeth you have here. Yeah, that's that thing. Okay. Other one here. Good. Oh, let me reach over this far one here. Good. Okay. So, yeah, compared to that other tooth, that was almost 4 inches. Most of your teeth are only almost half of that, at about 2 inches. But you've only got about 1, 2, 3. Got about 13 teeth in your skull right now. An unlucky number, but it looks like there's a lot of gaps and breakages now, which could be revealed with the excavation, that there's more maybe under your skeleton right now or something. But okay. Yeah. So the length of your lower jaw here. Tip of okay, good. Got these like horn-like structures as well that seem to be detached from your skull, but could very much have been attached at one point. So make sure to get these as well. Maybe double the size of your teeth at 4.3 inches each. Pretty conducive to the size of your head. Okay. Good. Let me make sure that I got all my measurements here. Teeth. Jaw length. Over. Okay. That's good. I think I got all of it. You do have, apparently, from what I can see right now, the most bone in your skull. So, that is where the most are. And then for now, your core here, we've got kind of a couple spinal bones here that are decently sized. So you might have had a lot of cartilage in between them. Okay, so measuring the length of your spine here, first from the first vertebrae to the last that ends at your tail, is about 14 inches to be exact. You've currently got 1, 2, 3, got about 6. And I say about 6 because you've got 6 full intact ones. And then here on the end near the tail, you have about a half one that I believe to be a vertebrae, but it might have been broken from what I can see here. So colleagues will have to investigate that further. But let me measure your vertebrae here. I'm going to measure each one, but they're all about the same length. Yeah, all about 2.5 inches, it seems. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I missed this front one. This very first vertebrae is a little bit longer, at about, I think, 2.5, right? Yeah, 2.5 inches. Okay, but they're all about the same. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I'm going to do one final measurement there. Lengthwise, good. And I'm just going to do the height or the depth, I guess, of the vertebrae here, because they're all about the same as well. They're like a little bit shallower. Okay, at about 1.5. Excellent. Now, because you're still only semi-excavated, you're still kind of encased in your fossilized stone that you'll be transported in just for safekeeping. I'm not going to get any circumference measurements of especially your vertebrae and these rounder bones. That will be done by either myself or one of my colleagues in the lab when you're in a safer environment. Now, for your ribs here, you've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, oh yes, that's one right there. Okay, 4 ribs. You've probably just lost them over time. I can't see you only having 4, as you have a pretty long body, as we said, but let's measure. Ribs are all in descending order of length. So the longest being the first one at 9 inches, 8.3 inches, 7.9 inches, and 7 inches. Excellent. Well, that was easy enough, huh? Now just your tail and your legs here. So just your tail's very simple in the measuring. It's just going to be the length here from the 1. Okay, that's the length. Let's do the height from the base of your tail to kind of where the end of your feet are, just in case I didn't get that before. Good. Okay, and your tail is also kind of like your ribs. Like there's a bit more pieces, but there's some missing parts. So each piece looks to be actually the same length though, at 3.2 inches. You just measure each one. 3.2, 2. Right, so we are now finally moving on to just your leg bones here. This should be an easy set of measurements as I said before, you're missing a lot of your bones in your legs. Got like 2 femurs, a foot-esque bone here in the one front, and 3 toe bones on one of your back legs. So it's going to be a lot of guesstimating about kind of what your height was, at least with your legs. So I'm going to get that measurement first here. It's going to be, you weren't very tall as I said, so 8.9 on this one. How about this back one here? A slight difference in height. That could be bone breakage from, again, damage, landslides, wear and tear with time, or you could have had a deformity as well. Make sure to note that. Okay. Then measure your foot bone at the front here. It's going to reach down. It's pretty standard compared to what I think your leg length was. And basically exactly 4 inches. Okay. Put the height on that one. Good. And your back toes here. It's going to be, yeah, they're all the same as I suspected, at just under half. Sorry, not half, just under 1 inch. A couple centimeters there. Good. Okay. And one more toe here. Okay. Let me do a final check. Make sure I didn't miss any of your measurements here. So I got your legs, including your toes, your tail, your spine, your ribs, your skull bones, your horns, and your teeth. Okay, I don't think I missed any, at least from what I can see right now. So let me get 2 seconds here. More measurements. Okay. Skull as well. Okay. It's down. Okay. And I need to write down those tooth measurements, which were, let me see here, 6 to the 5. Okay, that is it. Took some time, but I think you are all set to go. I'm gonna call the rest of my colleagues up to start doing more of the excavating, take some more pictures, and continue on with the process. And then hopefully we can get you home soon. Alright, well, thank you for being very still for me. You're a great subject to work with, and I'm excited to see and discover in the future what exactly you are. Alright, I'll see you in the lab. Alright, bye now.